Welcome to Basketball Heads Live. I'm your host, Glenn Poole Harding, and tonight we have a very special guest. This Brooklyn legend has been coaching basketball for over 30 years and has helped countless of men, young men, and women across New York City, including myself. It's my pleasure to introduce Transit Tech High School head coach, Deborah Mortley. And of course, we got my guy in the back, Jamel Powell, the resident artist, cooking up another nice picture. Oh yes, here we go.
Y'all ready? Yeah. You have just stepped out into the world of chaos. Where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. East Coast. Go hard. West Coast. Go hard. Midwest. Go hard. Dirty. Hurry up, everybody, get online, buy your tickets, cause the game about to start.
Hey, Coach.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm trying to do it on my laptop too. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Good.
I see all these messages coming up.
Yeah. A lot of people got a lot of love for you.
Wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we like to get this show on the road. You know, I always like to ask everyone, who introduced you to the game, Coach?
Wow. I was first introduced to playing basketball by my coach, Coach Haskins. And it started when I'm going to say I was in high school, and I lived across the street from St. John's Recreation Center. And I came out there, and I would always see the Roberts, Lee Vinson, Raul Perez, or Lloyd McCory, they were all out there, and I kept saying, why aren't the girls playing? And so Coach Haskins says, I'm going to form a girls team. And so,
right. Are you on your laptop or your phone?
I'm trying to be on my laptop, but it's freezing.
Right. Your phone is better. Yeah. Phone is better.
Okay, good. So what I did, I went out and I started recruiting some players. So what I did, I picked up one or two young ladies. I saw a young girl in the park one day, and her name was Trudy Whitaker. And I said, do you want to join a team? And I think we started a team. I think Coach started a team with 5 or 6 young ladies. And it was like, we're going to start, this was Brooklyn, USA. And it was back in 76. And it was they were just starting Nike. And these young men came around. And they were going to start Nike from the back of their trucks. Can you imagine that? Nike from the back of their truck. And so they sponsored us, and that's how we began. So Coach Haskins was the one, and he started me. He made sure his philosophy was we weren't just going to play the game, we were going to learn the game. And so he made us learn the rules and everything else that went with it. And I picked up a love for the game.
Wow.
So that was my inspiration. That's how I got started.
Salute to Coach Haskins. He's waiting for his picture.
Absolutely.
This is him right here.
Absolutely. That's gorgeous.
Yeah. And yours is being done. We did that. He was one of the first people we did. So salute Coach Haskins. So
wonderful.
At the time, who was the best player in your neighborhood, female or male? When you was coming up?
When I was coming up, I think I would have to say it was Bernard King, There was George Johnson. They were players of that caliber because they were my age. And so the difference with I grew up, we were learning fundamentals of the play the game. We were learning how to set, Lester Roberts, Ray Haskins, Lloyd McCory. They were teaching us, I'm talking about fundamental basketball. So we were learning from that aspect. Richard Gordon, we were talking about Anthony Brown, you called him Cosell.
Yes, yeah.
These guys, yeah, these were at the time, these were players that knew the game. As far as women were concerned, when I was growing up, there was Audrey, there was Brenda Caldwell, there was Nora Dupree. These were athletes that could play, and they weren't separated because they were female. I mean, they could match anybody on that court. The way we played, the way we were taught, there was no separation. There was no play like girls. You played basketball. You're an athlete.
Right.
So those were the people we looked at, and when you saw these guys play, I mean, you saw really fundamental. They could play good defense. They could shoot free throws. They could drive. They were thinkers on the court. We didn't have the 3-point shot. So you played basketball. We had the 15-footer. I mean, everybody hates the Knicks now, but at the time growing up, the Knicks was the team.
That's right. That's right.
Manager, you had Dave DeBusschere, you had Clyde. Everybody wanted a number 10, a 15, and a 22. These were the things that you wanted when you were growing. Those were the numbers you wanted to. We didn't know about these other numbers now. Our kids say they don't understand, who these were, but these were real legends. We lived with these legends. We saw them growing up. We saw them at 155th Street. You saw them uptown. You saw these guys play. So you got an in-depth understanding of basketball. How this game went.
Wow, that's
awesome.
You had a lot of players to look at back then. It was wow. The New York City atmosphere was full back then.
Absolutely was full. And remember, we also had you had the coach players today, and we see all the outside shooting that they're doing, and we see all of this razzle dazzle things they do. But
right.
Glenn, growing up, it was that game. You went to the game because it was fun to watch, and you wanted to see how 5 guys got together and they became one. That's what you went to the bar. You didn't go to see someone. I look at the game today and I say, kids walk in the gym and the first thing they do, they step across the threshold and they throw the ball up in the air, right?
The first shot they take is a 3-pointer. The first shot. Listen,
no warm-up.
Jaheim is on here right now. He would contest to this. I used to always get on him about that. Why is that the first shot all the kids take?
Exactly. Why? Can you answer that? Why?
It's like a barrier they can't go past. It's like,
yes. I mean, they look at this, the Stephon Currys and the Kyrie Irvings and walk in the gym, and when you say to them, "Don't take that shot," they're looking at you. Oh, that coach is trying to hurt my shot. sure
Right.
I could shoot. Are you kidding me? You're 0 for 10. You know, that is not your shot. Who told you that?
That's
You
right.
know, so our kids today can't play the level that we could play. You know, when I'm, you know, I look at when I first started coaching and I see those kids and I said, I go in here and I would teach them. Look at me because they don't even understand those terminology.
Right.
They have no understanding. What is a crossover? What is a reverse?
Or what about a triple threat? What about just a triple threat?
They don't even understand that. They know, they'll say, I know what a triple threat is, and they'll get in a position, but then they can't put the ball on the floor. But if they put the ball on the floor, they can't do the shooting, or if they can do the shooting, they can't do the passing, or they can't set themselves up so they can give the ball up.
Right.
You know, they can't give it up. So, you know, they become selfish players and not selfless players. You know, everything is about me. Give me. You know, I remember when I played, I was a great defender. I wasn't a good shooter, but what I could do to help the team was I could play defense. And I was a hell of a passer, and I knew that was my role. I had to develop a shot, but I knew that those were my contribution, and I knew that the best player on the team, I knew that.
You're still freezing. You're still freezing a little bit. You're still freezing. Hold on for a sec, Coach Deb. You're still freezing.
I don't know why.
All right, that's cool. You're good right now. Yep, you're good. Yeah, so
Okay.
where did you go to high school?
I went to Sheepshead Bay, and you know, that was a different understanding of the game. I actually ran track. I was a track star. I was actually a letter holder in track. I was at the time it was called the 440.
Yes.
I was a city champ record holder in track and field. It wasn't until, and I did 4 years of high school basketball, and I didn't understand what it meant to get a scholarship because I was offered one to go to Rhode Island, you know, at the time. But my parents, being Caribbean, and they understanding what education was, said, "Oh no, you're going to medical school. You're going to stay here." So, you know, I got accepted at the Hunter College, so I wanted to go to Hunter College, you know, because those were expectations.
Okay.
I see. I can see the note.
Yes, you got a lot of people in the building.
Yeah.
You got Marlins in the building, principal at Texas Tech.
See.
You have
Tell me a story.
yes, Marcel Will says I remember when Deb, Nora, and myself, Brenda played Bernard King a full court game.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's so
awesome.
true. Hey, listen, we treated them as players. You know, he wasn't Bernard King, the Bernard King that everyone knows. He was one of us growing up, and you step on that court, you had to defend us too. It didn't matter how good you were. We were going to play you hard. We were going to absolutely play you hard. You know, so those are the things that growing up I absolutely remember. You know, some things that I would love to share would be like when I think I need to hold this still. Remember when it was called the Big Apple games?
Yes, I remember that.
We would have tournaments. You remember that, Glenn?
Yes.
And when we competed against other centers,
yeah,
that wasn't that the highlight of it, you know, where you took the skills that we learned and made sure
right.
we were able to use those against other players. I remember some. It's so funny you said, one of your things that I remember learning the drills and the coaching, but I also remember guys up in the street saying, "Oh, hey, coach, I remember you," and I'm like, refresh my memory, and they go, "Big Apple." You said, on your side of the room, everybody had to do the drills. If you go on the other side, you can
That's
play.
right.
Listen, because my philosophy was I'm here to teach, and I
Yeah.
want you to remember that when you leave, you learned at least one or two things. You're going to learn how to shoot, correct form, or you're going to learn how to play down low or dribble, something, but you're just not going to come here. You want to play basketball, I used to always say to y'all, go in the park.
Yeah.
I'm going to teach you how to play.
No, you was definitely a
And,
stickler for that. You was definitely a stickler for that. I remember that. And
absolutely.
then being around Coach Gil Reynolds, you just listen to the coach. Whatever the coach says, it'll work out. And your reputation spoke for itself.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I stuck to it. I mean, it was 30 days of drills. I know that you guys came there and you go, why can't we play? I said, you go in the park and play. We here to learn. And I
No, Big
want you to be
Apple.
different.
Yes,
Because,
Big Apple was good.
yeah,
It was good for that. Helped
it was
you with the fundamentals and learn the game, and then you got to play against other guys around the city, right? If you made it that far,
absolutely,
right? It was awesome. And
absolutely.
then that was the next step was like the Empire State Games, which I played as well, right? So all of these
Yes,
things I was involved in early, which helped develop me as a player.
absolutely. Those are the things that we need today. Those are the things that make
Yeah,
players, those are the things that made you remember that Empire Games, remember Big Apples. Those are the things that develop our players. And you got to see good players. You got to see great players. And you got to see a healthy, respectful group of young men and women play throughout the city. Today,
right.
they're all over the place. So we don't know, who's who unless you go to a game or you hear someone or someone post a video and then you see. But those were healthy ways of actually getting an opportunity to see players play, which is true. Absolutely.
And it's like, the movie Escape from New York, because that's what all the top players are doing right now. They're leaving. And they're getting their name somewhere else, and it's not actually representative of what New York has to offer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The reputation that we held or we have here is not the same today as it was. Because as soon as a player becomes good, somebody is snatching him and
Yes,
they're going to another school in another state, or somebody else is pulling him out, or he's being managed by uh, AAU coach. And sometimes, I actually had a student of mine. It's so funny you should talk about this year. He said he was going to learn more with his AAU coach than on the high school team. And I had to say to him, let's see if that AAU coach can get you into a good college, because you still have to come back here and get a transcript. You still have to come back here and make sure you qualify. I said, do you know what your qualifications are to make it to? I said, your skills are not going to put you in that college. I said, you have to meet certain standards. I said, and if you don't pass those exams, if you don't do all those other things, no, he said he got me. He said he's going to get a coach to come and look at me. I said, really? I said, any of the rules? Do you know any of the NCAA rules? But our kids are brainwashed by, all of this outside. And now with all of this pandemic going on, where do we go with our sports to now? How do what's the next level for our sports now with
yes,
all that's going on? You
yes.
know, now how is that coach going to take you somewhere? What's
Or even come see you, right? Or with the craziness of the pandemic, no more AAU.
no more AAU, no more AAU, and so
For right now, there's not this summer, right?
and
So go ahead.
it's scary, because it's scary like what you're thinking as an educator, and I'm a former teacher. I'm a coach, so I'm actively coaching now. and you're looking at all these, you're getting mixed messages. So what is really going on? What's going to be the particular style? What platform are we going to teach from? How is this going to look when September comes? So everything is out in the open, where coaches were thinking about going to a park to see players now, and bringing in players into their schools. What's going to happen now? What's happening with our sports program?
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. So, Coach, how did you get into coaching? Where did it all start?
When I when I was playing with the AAU team, every new player that came on the team, myself and targeted players were given the instructions that we had to teach all of the plays, and if other players came in couldn't do a layup or some of the fundamentals, we had to teach them. So that was my first coaching aspect. So if I could teach someone else, then it would also help me understand the game better. So I had to teach, some of the younger players how to make layups. And once I started doing that and I became a teacher, the first thing I wanted to do, as a matter of fact, I became a middle school teacher, and my school 324, where the legendary Frank Mickens was the principal,
Yeah.
gave me the opportunity to coach a team. So I was the first female that was coaching a
Wow.
boys team,
Salute.
and I was coaching them, and then I remembered all the things that I did. So I had this boys team. So I coached them. And it's so funny. We had there were two divisions on the junior high school level. You had the regular basketball players, then you had the we call the special ed teams. So I had two different teams that I coached, but I put all the kids together. And then when I went into this, when I had to play over here, I played with these kids and I had to play. But you're in that gym, you practice, So, and it was so funny when the kids first got me, they were like, "You know how to coach us?" And it was strange to me, like, "Why are you asking that? What are you talking about?" Not realizing that they were looking at me as a female,
That's
like, "You know
right.
how to
That's
coach us?"
right.
So I didn't have a problem. I said, "Here's what we're gonna do. Here's a basketball. If any of y'all beat me in this gym, I will be the coach." I coached them. That's the end of my story, and I'm gonna stick to it.
All right. Cool.
So that's how I got into coaching, and then when I moved on to the high school level, I taught at Bushwick High School, and I started coaching there. I coached the girls there, and the difference with coaching males and females is, with females, you tend to be more detail oriented. You tend to be more fundamentally sound, and because of that, when you first pick up a team, most of the time, at the time in I'm talking about the 80s and the 90s coaching, when the boys walk in the gym, you give them a basketball, some of them will dribble, some of them can make a layup, some of them can shoot. When you walk in the gym at the time with those girls, no experience, zero, 0 to 1. And so you start from the beginning, and I mean the very beginning, where I had to tell them, this is the baseline, this is a sideline, this is the half court, this is a backboard. At the time, we didn't have fiberglass. This is a backboard. When you come over here, you dribble over on this side, you go back and forth, you can do all of these things. So these were the things that we did. That's another good point that we're saying. I referee, so I became an official, and I was actually one of the first female officials too. And that's what really enhanced me. And thanks, Vern. That's what really enhanced me in learning the rules. I became an official, so, and where you wear the
What is that?
black and white. When I officiated, I wore a skirt.
You serious?
Yes.
Wow.
Blue,
You don't even see that
blue and
anymore.
white. Yes.
Right.
You can imagine how early that was. We wore blue skirts white shirts and white sneakers. That was
Wow.
our uniform. Yes, and I remember, and we had our rules, and I started doing that. I would do CYO games. I would do the CYO games. I remember, matter of fact, to get into the officiating with the young ladies, I would do it with Jan, this young lady named Jan Smith. She and I would go all over, and we would get $4, $6 to officiate games. That's how
Wow.
much money we were making officiating those games. So that's what really, put me to the next level on becoming a better coach. Once you learn the rules, it makes you a better coach. It gives you better strategy against another team. So I learned that, and then Coach Haskins told me take the test and become a Samoa official, which was the officials into a male dominated organization, Sports United Worldwide Officials. So I did that, and again become the first female in that particular arena. And so I
Wow.
learned those rules there. So I had to learn. So the craziness is, at the time, you learned rules for females were totally different than the rules for the male. So when I would go and officiate, I had to remember, change my thought. Okay, I'm doing girls games, and I'm doing men's games. So that's what got me started into coaching. And I mean, I can tell you, Coach Glenn, that the young women and men that I coached all those years ago are
Yes.
still part of my circle of friends. I mean, I am some of their children's godparents and things like that.
Wow.
Basketball for me is a means or a vehicle for them to get ahead. So I used to say, as one of my philosophies, use this as a vehicle to get where you have to go. Use this
Right.
as a vehicle, because I had players who couldn't even play, but they stayed on the team. And I said, learn this game so that you learn the different aspects. And I particularly remember this young named Evita Thompson, who, I tell you what, for the year she stayed on my team, I believe she got into maybe 6 games, but she got a full basketball scholarship because she wanted to go. She went to New Falls, and she went in there as a manager, different aspect of the game. And because she played on the team, she received that scholarship. She was a manager for the team. And when she graduated in her 4 years, she didn't owe any money. So that was the goal. So you have to
Right.
think of, where are you in your level of skills, and how can you utilize this game to get you to where you need to go. So she didn't listen. She had no one any money.
Was that when you was at Bishop
That was
Loughlin?
when I was at Bishop Loughlin.
All right, so how did you make the transition from 324 to Bishop Loughlin?
I actually made the transition from 324 to Hunter College. I coached on the
Oh,
college level there for
wow.
4 years. Yeah. And after I coached there for 4 years, that was they didn't have division 1, 2, or 3 basketball. You just was CUNY. It was a CUNY games, and it was very tough recruiting players to come into the CUNY school systems. So when I had an opportunity to go and coach on a high school level, I was like, high school, I don't know if I want to do that. I said, that's going to be different, because here you are coaching college girls. Now I got to go to, college girls. I can scream at them. I can tell them they're more responsible. 25 years later, I'm
Wow.
at Bishop Loughlin. I actually had 5 state championships. Again, first female. As actually was the only Black female coaching in the Catholic school system at the time. So that was
Wow.
you think Black coach that. Those were some.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And And at the time, Christ the King was a dominating team. And I remember every year I would say to my girls, every dog has his day. You know, we would go in there and they would beat us by 40, and I would say, it's okay. They beat us by 40. Let's lose to them by 38. Okay, let's lose to them by 25. It's okay. I said, we're going to get them next year. Listen, I think it took me 10 or 12 years. But when I got that team that I put together and they understood my philosophy and my style of coaching, we went in there and knocked them off their little throne. What a
Wow.
wonderful feeling.
I think Laura Millie's in
The
the
first
building.
team to
I
do
think
that.
Laura Millie, she's in the building right now too, listening. Former Christ the King great. Yes, yes. This is
Yes.
awesome. This is awesome.
She must have remembered that whipping.
Wow.
We
So
really spanked them good.
when were you at Bishop Loughlin? From what year to, how long in between that
Oh my
24 years?
gosh. I think I started there in 87, I think.
Damn, the year I graduated high school.
87. Yeah.
Wow.
87, I think yeah. So, just do the math, I think it was 20 and 3, something like that, until I finished there, yeah.
Wow.
Great players. I mean, listen, I had a lot of players that went Division 1. I'm so happy that they all graduated. I actually have one of my former players that many of them are physicians. I have one that she is a OBGYN doctor. She's a director out in Knoxville, Tennessee. I have them that are dentists. I mean, all types of profession. I have one that she's Adiola. She's working with ESPN, and anytime they have a game anywhere, she's like, Coach, let me fly you somewhere. I'm like, Coach, let me take you to this game. I'm like, oh, it's too cold to be out there. That is not my cup of tea. No, we're
Wow.
going to be on the field. I said, not feeling that.
So you have 5 state champions. You have 5 state championships. How many city championships? 5 or?
A lot more and I should have kept the record, but it was just great and you know what? I got an A, B, C, and D. I never got it in AA, but I got it in A, B, C, and D. Winning
Wow.
all those state championships. Yeah, yeah. And the thing was, what made us those wins so beautiful was the fact that we went there and they didn't expect us to win. We went there, they didn't think that we didn't look like we should win. And so you had to go there with a different mindset. You had to teach character. Go out to those areas where it's only people that looks like us are only within the circle that we go out there. So you tell them, we're here to play basketball. We're here to do this. Check the length of the court. It's the same length. Check the height of the rim. It's the same rim. We're here to dominate. We're here to dominate. We walk in this gym, we want to be up by 10 to win by 1. So those were the philosophies and things that you had to teach, so that you could teach character and build a strong stamina to some of the things that you had to go through. But that's life, and
That's
as you
right.
teach that, you build character, you know, you build character with the young ladies, And that's what, As a matter of fact, I was there coaching the same year that Mark Jackson was one of the students at Loughlin.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's great. 5 state
Absolutely.
championships.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I didn't even know that, Coach Dab. So that's amazing. I wish I
Yes,
could have
yes.
put that in the notes. And
I should have told you.
yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. So I know there was a time when the girls used to take a far back seat to the guys, right? And now girls are going to top schools, and the guys, they got to leave the city or they're not going anywhere compared to what the girls are doing.
Absolutely. Title IX and all of the other equal rights amendments and laws have leveled the playing field. So it's not equality, but it's equity.
Right. Right.
So now what you have a lot of these young ladies that are coming up through AAU programs and starting out in their junior high school, elementary schools, and they have, I mean, tremendous ability. So you're right. They're not just going to the one or two schools that they used to go to the UConns or some of the other schools. Now they're going
Right.
all
Tennessee.
over
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're playing. I mean, they're playing, and they don't. You know, um, I have to disagree a little with you. Before, the recruitment for the young ladies wasn't as tremendous or as aggressive as it was for the men. Now, Coach Glenn, it's almost the same thing. It's almost as ugly as it is with the young men. They're
Really?
just not as widely seen.
Wow.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. It's aggressive, and if you have any players that could really play, what's happening is, especially with the AAU coaches, they're coupling them and they're hovering over them and sending them maybe to one or two schools, and so you have all the great players one way, and then you push them one way. But what I've learned from all of that is, if you don't be transparent with these young ladies and you let them go to schools that they're not capable of being academically able to qualify, then you put them in a situation where they don't succeed. So even if I'm a great player, if you don't say to me, great player, Deborah, you're great, but you need to go here because the same opportunities aren't granted to women as they are to men. So I could be, unfortunately, a great player as a male, and I could go to the big school because I know I'm going to stay there 1 year or 2 years. It's not the same with the women because they'll go and they'll get their degrees. And if they really want to make money, unless you are the top, you're going overseas to make money, and you're not bringing back the same level of ability to money making ability as you would if you were that male. And hopefully things will change and maybe it'll get different, but it's not the same. It's
Yeah.
absolutely not
I
the
see
same.
my guy Pat Alphonse put up the Rose Classic. How helpful has that been for the females?
Absolutely, absolutely awesome. And you see, those are platforms where players can be seen. Those are platforms like the Rose Classics and the AU different tournaments going to different areas. Those are platforms that you can see absolutely great skills. And you can see players. I mean, if you looked at some of our college games and you see some of these players today that can really put that ball up there or put that ball on the floor, do some of the unique things that they can do. You can see like Sue Bird and all of that. I mean, you could those athletes can play. You don't
Yes.
want to separate and say those female athletes, but those athletes can play, and they
Right.
can actually step up to the level of competition with anyone, given
Mm.
granted and giving them the opportunity to do so.
Okay. So, what's your perception of New York City basketball today?
It's nowhere near the level that it should be, and I want to blame a lot on the Department of Education. I think they could do a better job. Well, am I going to get in trouble for this? No. I think they could do a better job in the way sports are. I
Yes.
think it's a tragedy that they're not doing the things that they should do. There's no reason why our school system, the largest school system in the country, our sports isn't as good as our neighboring states, as a Jersey or a Connecticut or Texas. Why not? Why can't we go there and see what they're doing and you know duplicate it? The wheel is already invented. Why we don't need to create a new wheel? We can. The biggest compliment and flattery is to copy something from someone. So if something is not working for us, and I'm going to give you an example. There is no reason why teams today should have a dominant team and you play that dominant team year after year and you play maybe you're dominant a double A, and you play a A team and you're beating them by 70 or 80, and you continue to allow that. Or at the end of our season, we made the playoffs as a JV. Okay, my first year, I said to my kids, next year we're making the playoffs. How? I said, believe me, next year we made the playoffs. As the first round, our division had to go to Staten Island. Now here's what. We had to go to a 6 o'clock game from Brooklyn. We had to go to a game. So we had to leave at 1 o'clock.
Right, right,
A 6 o'clock game. It
right,
made no sense. On Staten Island.
right.
Then we get to Staten Island, we play that game, and now we still have to come back, and our young men have to get on the subways to go home. But you see, my philosophy is I can't put those kids on that subway. I'm in East New York. So what do? I take each of those kids home. And I make sure they get home. That makes no sense. There's no way, creative way that, and the sad thing is the coaches say, oh, this is done every year like this. Why? For that team out in Staten Island, which if you're on Staten Island, your selection of student population, we're a school with 300 students. We played against a school with 5,000 students. So of course your athletic skill levels and abilities is going to be, the team beat us by 60. Why? Why do we have to go out there for that? And knowing that, because Coach Glenn, you could sit at any tables and see out throughout the season skill levels. So
Yeah.
there's no reason for you to put us against a team like that. There's no reason to match us against that. What was the purpose of that? You know, and then to say, you separate us in the JV levels by skill levels. But then when you get to the playoffs, you say, oh, we're going to make one team. What's the purpose of having separation then? That makes no sense. So you took us from Brooklyn to play in Staten Island at that night. And thank God that our principal is as great as he is. He got us a bus so that we can go out there and not take the subway. And it still took, and we still was late getting out there.
Wow.
That makes no sense. It just made no sense. Can you imagine our riding back on the bus after having that kind of loss to the devastation of those young men to come back, you know, back to Brooklyn now at night? You have to now travel home. These are so I say all that. The point that I want to make about the PSL is it has to do better, and that just is not just in basketball. It's in every other sport that they do that with. They do that in football. They do that in baseball. You have to do better. You have to make it better so that our kids, if the philosophy of sports is to make kids have fun and to learn, what lesson are you teaching? What lesson are you teaching? And it's true. The DOE is dropping the ball with sports programming. It's terrible. We should have better. It should be better organized. It should be better run. You know, it has to be. You have to be able to come to the coaches who are educators and say to us, what is it that we need to do? And then listen to our voice, because there are great suggestions out there. Everybody coaching is not out there just to get $1.
Right.
There are many of us that put a lot of hard times in it to make the program work. So when you kill us with the way you design and organize the brackets, you're killing the program. You're killing the program. So what I think about New York, but New York sports, as far as sports, not just basketball, I think it needs a lot more. There's a lot more to be desired from it. A lot more. You know, we can do a much better job. There's too many people out there that can give us money to make us run our programs better. We could do a much better job. Because basketball, you run a great sports program, you stop a lot of the problems that our teenagers are having out here in the city.
Yeah.
You bring us better together.
Yeah.
Sports is definitely a means of bringing people together. What other thing you can put together where you get people of different ethnicity, creeds, and things that could come together after the game and hug each other and come together as great as sports can bring us together.
Sports and music definitely does that. Definitely.
Absolutely. And these are the areas or the programs that get the least amount of funding. music, arts, and sports, right? They get the least amount of money.
Yeah. Also, Mercer, who's that? Merkel Wells said,
Brenda.
okay, Brenda said, that's who she is, all right. Said the DOA puts physical education on the back burner.
Absolutely. I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. And now
Well,
with this pandemic, what's going to happen with physical education? How are
right.
kids going to get
Yeah.
their physical activity? She's right.
Get rid of it like they're doing with a lot of sports right now across the country. So I could go into my rant, but I'll leave that for another time. You know what I think about what's going on with New York. There was an article, and I mentioned this before on another show, that was written in 2012, and it was in the New York Times how the Regents exam correlates with the downfall of New York City sports. And you can check that out. It's a New York Times article,
Wow.
2011, 2012.
Okay.
Look it
You
up.
should just Google that. Okay, I will.
Yeah,
I
yeah, you
love
can look it
data like
up.
that.
Yeah.
I
So,
love data like that
oh
because it
yeah,
shows you correlations.
yes, definitely,
I love
definitely.
that. I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah. And it was just so much talent coming out of New York City at the time, and a lot of things that they did. They put a lot of roadblocks in front of people and hurdles that they had to jump over. It just made it a little bit more difficult. So, what
Absolutely.
what do you plan to accomplish in the next few years with Transit Tech?
I'm hoping, and it's so funny, I went in there with the goal of keeping the junior varsity program alive and to hope that they would, get someone that would want to continue on the hurdle that I'm doing. I'm hoping that the program that I'm running there, it's a vehicle to help the varsity. So my philosophy as a junior varsity coach is to build fundamental skills so that they can move on to the varsity level. Because Transit Tech is not a particular school where super athletes say, that's my first choice. Our school is a career school. It's a technical school. So you learn technical skills and how to become a mechanic for MTA. And so you learn those different skills. You learn, programming and things like that. So you're thinking of the mindset of those kids. And so sports is not, the first option that the students will use to come to the school. So what I want to do with the kids the athletes that come to me, student athletes that come to me, I want them to be fundamentally sound so that they be given the opportunity to go on to the varsity level to at least try. And even if they don't, they could leave with a sense of knowing I learned something, because every time practice ends, my last question to them is, what did you learn today? What did you learn that you didn't know when you walked in here? And if you can't tell me something, either I didn't do a good job or you didn't take the opportunity to learn what I was teaching. So it keeps us both on our P's and Q's. It keeps us both transparent so that you always know coach is going to ask that question. I better say something.
That one is
So yes.
we back connected. I think we lost connection real quick for a minute. But yeah, that's one of the things, and he's right there. What up, Marlon? He said that's one of the things that he always he liked about you and your coaching style. Electrical computer technology, automotive technology, transportation technology.
Is that my principal?
Yep, Transit Tech's my guy. That's my guy right there. That's right.
I love him. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's so
Good
supportive.
brother. Good brother. Ever since
So
we
supportive. He really is.
there, coach. Hello?
Yeah. I've
All
not
right.
left yet.
All right, cool. Well, we at that time where we, ask our guests if the people who had an impact on New York City basketball, such as yourself. It was definitely a pleasure having you, but you don't have to get the answer now. Just think about it.
Tell me the question again. You froze on me.
Okay. Well, this is the part of the show where we ask our guests if they know someone who they would like to nominate to be on the show, like yourself, who have had an impact on New York City basketball. You don't have to answer now. You can think about it and text me later. All right?
Wonderful. It was such a pleasure coming here. I had such a blast. I thank you
Oh
so
man.
much for considering me. You don't understand
Listen.
how great this was. I
You
really appreciate this.
We were supposed to do this a long time ago, but the schedule got kind of
Absolutely.
crazy. Coach Haskins made sure, he said, listen, Glenn, two people I want you resident artists.
How am I finishing?
Oh my gosh, that is so wonderful. Oh my gosh.
I'm not done here.
See that?
Passionate, extremely.
Yeah, it's my guy.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that's the
What a
picture you
blessing.
took
What
me.
a blessing. What
And
a
that's the
blessing.
team right there. Yeah, definitely. So
Wonderful.
appreciate you, Coach. Appreciate you.
Thank you again. Thank you.
Take care.
Have a good night.
All right.
Bye-bye. Thank you
Y'all ready?
again.
Ready?
That's right.
Yeah.
Coach Deborah Mortley.